mate. Now, for any of our women viewers, you can imagine there's just some times where you go through life and you really don't like anybody. Well, now take that and make the person there weigh 6 tons and be a huge bull elephant, and basically what happens is they just go nuts. Their hormones are so completely messed up that they just don't know what to do. One second they love you, the next second they're in a complete rage. They're in a complete rage, and to top that off, they just want to look for females, but the females don't always want them around, and they're just kind of in a sour mood. Now, I was driving with some wonderful, wonderful guests, some people from Cape Town, a beautiful family, I believe they were from Singapore, and we saw about 3 or 4 elephant bulls in the back, and I had 2 other vehicles from the lodge I was driving with near me. We're watching this, and I decided, the sighting's all right. It's a bit far off, but let's drive down the road a bit, and then we'll turn around and come back and see if maybe we don't get a better visual. And as it turns out, as I come back, I've got my 2 colleagues. They're parked in the road in front, and as I'm about to stop and ask for an update, I get on the radio. A colleague of mine, there's a bull elephant, a male elephant coming through the bushes. And just as I'm going to turn to my guest to say I'm going to back up a little bit, this bull comes out, and just as he comes out, you can see he's in musk. Now, the way that you see that a male elephant is in musk is they've got temporal glands here, and it secretes fluid down the side. Now, whenever an elephant is really very, very, very happy or very, very sad, they'll secrete that fluid. With a male in musk, it's a lot. It's a lot more than usual. So it's coming out there, and they get this smell, because what happens is they dribble urine, and it attaches to the back of your legs, and they actually start to grow a fungus. So they've got quite a stink on them. So this bull comes. Now he looks to his left and he sees my colleagues in front, and he looks to his right and he decides that, Noelle, today is the day I really don't like you. He's a big boy. So I told my guests, just sit still, be quiet, and am I going left or right? For 45 minutes, this elephant decided to show me who was boss, who was big, who was mean, who was bad, and it was not me. It was not my guests. Got some elephants markings there on the side of the road. It was not my guess, it was him. And he would flap his ears, and he was coming towards the car, and he had his tusks like this. Now what happens, it's one of those situations, you never want to be in that situation, but things can happen in a split second. Now, because he's so close, I actually can't back up or go forward quick enough to keep myself and my guests safe in that situation. Basically what I have to do is I have to ask my guests to please be quiet, don't make any sudden movements, don't make any sudden sounds, please don't take any pictures, keep your flashes off, all sorts of things, and please don't breathe too heavy was the point we got at. And I sat there quietly at first, spoke to my guests outside my mouth, kept them as comfortable as they could be, and at some point I actually started to tell this elephant to go off. I wasn't speaking in English, but I was telling him in some harsh words, he must move on now. And a lot of the times when you talk to an animal, whether it be your pet dog at home or one of our lions that we have here wild free in the bush, a tone of voice, an either calming tone of voice or a stern tone of voice, can actually keep you out of trouble. And I think a mixture between my stern tone of voice and him actually just getting bored ended up moving him away. But it was a very hairy situation. You don't want to have your car turned over, and it's also one of those things where I don't want the animals that I work with to be upset, and I know that on a good day they also don't want me to be upset. So I think that has to be one of the times where when we got done, because my colleagues that were in front of me, they also couldn't move far away because they were afraid that if they drove off it would anger him towards me. So by the end of that, all 3 of us, and I think all of our guests, were quite elated at the sighting we'd had. It's quite an incredible experience, but also a little bit breathing a little bit hard. The adrenaline got going. Not seeing any tracks. Not picking up much on the radio right now. We'll keep looking for these elephants. Again, as much as I want to show you as much as we have, sometimes the animals in the bush have another idea for us. We seem to be having a good time so far. I'm actually going to stop, since we are on our way to try and find these elephants, I'm just going to stop here and focus it on this tree for a minute. This is a marula tree. Now the marula bears a fruit. It's going to be coming up, not this time of year, more December side, that's green when it's on, and then when it falls it's yellow. And you can actually make something called mampur out of it, which would be like a moonshine brandy for those of you in the States. I don't know if we've got moonshine or anything in the UK. I'll have to double check on that, or maybe a viewer can let me know. But we also make amarula out of it. Now amarula is a cream liqueur, and the reason why amarula is made is that during the let's say 60s, 70s, I want to say that side, Kahlua was no longer being coming into the country, and South Africans liked it, and so they decided we're going to make our own, and they made amarula. And actually the elephant that's on the cover of amarula is from a reserve I used to work at, and it's a really, really fun drink. If you're in the mood for a little bit of South Africa and you're sitting at home watching us, maybe you have some amarula on ice. Now that fruit that makes those beautiful drinks we just talked about also has some of the highest vitamin C that you can find in the bush. It's good for us to eat. You can also make jam out of it, make preserve, a jelly out of it, and elephants love, 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 love it. Now come that time of year, I've heard stories that the elephants get drunk. They don't actually, in fact, get drunk on it, but they do get very happy. It's like a big sugar rush. If you were to take a whole lot of vitamin C tablets and swallow it down, it's going to be a big rush. It's the same thing for them. The monkeys eat them, the baboons eat them, all of that. The leaves are incredibly edible, and it's one of those trees that's very, very large. It's branches that goes off at a 90-degree angle, very good for leopards. Of course, we all love leopards. And then you can see on the side here, I'm actually going to get out of the vehicle. Armin wants to follow me. Yes, I will definitely do that. Armin wants to follow me. I don't know how well you can see this, but there's some mud and some smoothness and some discoloration on here. Now, I'm a tall girl. I'm not the tallest person in the world, but I'm quite tall, and this mud is going up, up, up. Only thing that can do this is an elephant. Now, an elephant gets very hot when they flap their ears. On a day like this, not so much, but especially when it's hot, they'll flap their ears a lot. They lose about 75% of their heat through that. But then to lose a lot of or to keep themselves cooled down as well, they'll go and they'll roll in the mud. They even like to swim. I know that Mark showed you some beautiful swimming elephants the other day. And then especially the bulls will come and they'll sort of rub themselves like this and rub themselves like that to help take that mud off. Sometimes their skin gets a bit itchy. You'll get buffalo, and rhino will do the same thing. Same thing as well. All right, let's carry on. And now I'm seeing some elephant tracks. That is good. Good news. And they are, in fact, going a little bit this way. Just one set of tracks. Sometimes elephants will walk in a line. Sometimes they walk in a group. Sometimes they're spread out. Usually you'll see the mothers and the smaller ones, and the rest of the females, the matriarch and them, all sort of together. And then the bulls that are about 12 years old, a little bit older, they start to lag behind. Some nice rhino dung here on the side. Hearing some arrow-marked babblers. Station at Difficult Dam from Noelle. Station of Difficult Dam, please come in for Noelle. Is there space for me there with the envelope? Copy that, thank you. If I could join you on just up the road here. Alright, now we saw a few tracks. I showed you a marking on the side of a tree. We've seen a little bit of dung. We've had some branches come off. We talked a lot about elephants. We had the brief sighting before. It wasn't the best ever. And then I said, come, let's go. Let's see if we can find this other group of elephants. And I think maybe, just maybe, if we continue on down where we're going, we might in fact see some elephants. And my lovely viewers at home, here we are. Now what I'm going to do is it's a little bit of a slant, I'm going to shut off the vehicle and I'm going to roll. It just it gets the noise down for anyone else that might be in the sighting, but it also just lets the animals get accustomed to us. I'm going to park us at the best angle that I possibly can so that we can get the best visual, and then we can sit here and enjoy ourselves for as long as you are all happy. Now elephants, as we found out earlier, is my favorite animal, so I'm happy to do this all day. I think my dream job would possibly to do elephant research. I'm just gonna come around the corner a little bit and we're gonna get you quite a nice sighting. Actually, sorry, I misjudged a little bit of a step there. If you'll just excuse me for a second, I am just gonna actually do like this. Focus in over there on the left-hand side. There we are. Promised you some elephants, and here we go. Now I've already spoken quite a lot about our beautiful pachyderm friends, but I was wondering if maybe you all have some questions that you'd like to ask me about what we're seeing. I'll start talking a little bit, and then Catherine will just let me know if I'm in control. We've got a female here in front of us. Now you're all going to ask me, how on earth do I know that's a female? Now you can actually see beautifully there, the female, when she turns the side of her head, she's got a 90-degree angle on her forehead. A male is going to be much more round. Okay. Okay, you can see she's using her trunk quite nicely. Okay. Now they're all down here drinking a bit of water. It is later in the afternoon here for us. I know that if you're in the States, it's probably earlier in the morning, and if you're in the UK, you're about an hour behind us. So this is a good time for them to come and start drinking. She's pushing a little bit. You've got her little one there behind the tree. They actually can only start using their trunk at about 2 years old. It takes that long for them to get their muscles up. Now I've actually noticed that one of the females is going to come around the outside. Up on the left hand, if Harmon wants to go over there, she's coming out of the water. Little one's in tow, and she's probably going to come up and feed. Now, we've got some nice mothers with young here. Female, of course only a female, but an elephant's pregnant for about 22 months, and then she nurses for 24 months. And they actually have mammary glands in front, just like humans do. Okay, it's not like with a rhino or like the Noelle that we saw earlier where they're going to have a sort of udder in the back. And then if we pan over just to the right again, Harmon, we actually have our lovely lady friend has come to visit us. Now you can really see nicely that 90-degree angle. You can see she's got very, very long eyelashes, helps keep a lot of gunk out of her eyes, and big, big, big ears. Remember, a lot of their heat comes out from behind. As you can see, all of these elephants are quite comfortable with us. They're going to walk around. They might smell us a bit. They're very tactile. They like to touch. They like to smell. And they like to see what's going on. We're going to walk just behind our vehicle here. And let's listen for a bit. These large animals making almost no sound. Very good. Now we've got a young male who's coming up to the side of our car now. Now, aging elephants, it's all sort of relative, but you can also look at his eye, the way he's approaching us just there. He's checking us out. He wants to pretend he's all big and bad. But in fact, he's like a teenage boy, trying to be a little bit bigger than he is and kind of show off a bit. You weren't able to see it, but just at the edge that we were down here, we had a male that came through. He'll follow at the back of the herd. And then I have a sneaky suspicion. He walked actually right where Harmon's showing. He walked straight down here, and he's joined the rest of the breeding herd, which has come around behind us. And then if we pan back through this way, I'm willing to bet that that's a young male there. Okay, I'm willing to bet that he's about 15 to about 18 young male, maybe a little bit smaller. We could even go 14 to 18, let's say. And the reason why I say that is he knows that everybody is left. He knows perfectly well. And what he's going to do is he's going to sit here and he's going to munch. And then all of a sudden he's going to look up and sort of shake his head and go, oh no, where's mom? And kind of tootle on after the herd. Okay. Now he's actually doing something quite amazing. And you can see it beautifully on your screens. He's taken the sticks, put it in his mouth and rolled the bark off. There, you can see completely stripped of bark. Okay? And that's what they do. They roll all the bark off. An elephant has 6 sets of teeth throughout its life. It's got the milk teeth set, alright, that go away in the first few years, and then after that they've got sets of teeth that last about 10 to 15 years depending. So there he is rolling there, and now he's going to run off a little bit. He realizes that mum is gone. Head in the air, tail out straight. He wants the rest of his family now. Alright, well, it was a little bit brief, but I do have to say we got our elephants. Okay, I'm going to back up and reposition a little bit, and maybe we can't get another sighting. However, they have gone into the thicker bush. I think we actually got the best of it as they came straight past us. I just turned my car. A lot of what we do as guides is we have to position ourselves correctly. And so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and position us all for you to see this young male that just did that lovely show and watch his feeding behavior a little bit more. Alright? Okay. And we're gonna listen a bit to the sounds we were talking about. Watch his trunk moving, stripping the bark off, eating the bark, very deftly picking up that stick. Okay. And when he walks away, you can actually see quite nicely the bottom of his feet. We also talked about that today, the tracks and all of that. Sorry, Harmon, I'm actually going to move up a little bit more. Please excuse my repositioning, everyone at home. Sometimes what happens is you get a really great view and then the animal will move just enough that you actually want to position again so that you can get the best of both worlds. And now what we've got is we've got this young boy here on our right crossing the road, and then we've got the whole family again up in front of us. Now if everyone's happy to stay with these Ellies, I would love to as well. And again, we are live at Juma Game Reserve. I'm Noelle, this is Safari TV. I've got Harmon on camera, and we are in 3D. Harmon, I'm gonna... We have a question from Jody. Jody was asking, other than their obvious size difference, how do you tell, I believe, the difference between male and female? How long do they live? And what is their best sense? Now, I'm going to keep driving a little bit forward so we can get a little bit better view. An elephant's best sense, I'm actually going to say it's a tie between their hearing and their sense of smell. Now, their eyesight is comparable to human eyesight, a little bit better than our own, and then their sense of hearing is quite acute. Obviously, they've got that very large trunk, very large ears, and then they've got that trunk. It helps them to smell quite nicely. Now, that being said, sorry, I'm just gonna do the best we can here to keep our visual nice. Stop here and we'll just zoom in on our left over here. And these elephants moving down. How long do they live for? They live to about 60, 70 years. There are some records of some bulls living almost to 80, but comparable to the lifespan of a human, about 60, 70 years. There's different humans, different parts of the world, different societies that live a little bit longer, but roughly that. No worries. Hunky. Hello everyone, how are you? There's a this elephant here, go to the left and go down, there's a leopard.
No
I'm not
way.
kidding you.
I see it.
Do you see it?
No way.
Okay, everyone, we've got a a leopard I've just found at the feet of these elephants. She's very relaxed. Well, somewhat relaxed for being here with elephants, and I just noticed her because she happened to move a little bit. So, yeah, you can see the little white tip of the tail. She looks a little bit nervous because that elephant's so close. Sorry, I love cats. Yeah, I'm quite elated right now. I'm going to let you all watch for a minute. We're going to see what she's going to do, and then we'll see if we can't get a better visual. What road are we on?
I know what this road is called.
Station that was just in the Noelle siding by Buffelshoek Dam coming for Noelle. Yeah, all stations. I've got one Ingwe. I'm not sure if it's Mafazi or Medora, but I've got one Ingwe with the Schlambi of Noelle here at Buffelshoek Dam. She's just on the... Oh, yeah, she's just right here. She's about a few meters from the Noelle. Copy that. Alright everyone, well, we came out looking for Big Five, and we came out looking for elephants, and we have just been so lucky. And there's just something I want you all to notice, is the fact that we've been sitting here for a while, and another game drive vehicle was actually also here, and we couldn't see this cat. Do you remember earlier we talked about the long grass and the way things are? Now what I'm actually going to try and do, I'm going to let Harmon zoom in. I'm going to let you all get a good look at that. See that white tip of the tail actually means she's a little bit agitated. I say she, but just from the size that I'm seeing now, the best way to tell would be the male bits in the back that are a little bit yellow, which we can't see right now. And then I'll have Harmon zoom out a bit, and I'm going to reposition the vehicle. I'd like us to get a good visual before anyone else comes in. Alright. And if you just give me a little bit of time. Alright, so sorry viewers, we are going to leave the elephants. This leopard is too good to give up. I was just very fortunate for the last 7 months to be working with a woman who knows quite a lot about leopard, and she taught me quite a bit. And our own Will Fox, who is our boss here, is also working on a leopard project, and this happens to be one of the most... Sorry, last station, come back, excuse me?
Noelle, it's Bernie here. Can I join and respond to that call?
That's an A-firm. I've got one station coming in. I'm not sure if you allow 2 or 3 stations in Ingwe sightings. If you allow 3, you're more than welcome to come through. Okay, sorry about that, Mark. Just told me you can come through. You can come through.
So, what's the basic facts on this little cut line in front of Gary Mine? Not Gary Mine, but this is a cut line from the, what's it, the eastern side.
Benny, I came from Cheetah Cut Line, and I took the second access to Biffleshoek. When you get to the dam from there, I took a right and went up that little cut line. I'm not quite sure of the name. I can see the dam from here, and I will get your audio. I can guide you through. No, that's a negative. What's this road, Harmon?
I'm not sure.
I think it's going to be Biffleshoek Lodge, or...
No, it's not.
That's a Dam East.
Biffleshoek Dam East.
Harmon's telling me it's Biffleshoek Dam East. Biffleshoek Dam East. Sorry about the radio confusion. Excuse me, guys. Alright, sorry viewers. One of the things that you need to realize is that whenever we find something, we share it with everybody else, whether we be Safari TV or the guys at Juma, anyone else that can drive, and something like a leopard, all the guests want to see it. We were very lucky. We were very lucky to find her, and she's seeming quite relaxed, but also quite interested, and it's also good for us to share with everybody else. So we've got you at home, and then we've also got some folks here. Oh, there's a yawn. Before cats start to move, they yawn, and then they'll yawn, and then they'll stretch, and then they'll get up. A leopard will keep walking. A lion will most likely lie back down. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just really chuffed. I'm so happy that all of you could be here with me for my very first drive here with Safari TV at Juma and finding this leopard. It's 2 movers. When the first vehicle gets in, they're coming through now. I will leave to let some other guys come through. Okay, copy that, Mark. Sorry. Station, if you come in on my right-hand side, you're going to get a nice visual of her just through this. You're very welcome. Hello, everyone. How are you? Alright. Now, something that we haven't had a chance to talk about, you can actually see it nicely. You can see her ears in the back, and you can see her rump quite well, is that cheetahs have spots and leopards have rosette. A rosette is sort of a wavy with a light-colored mark, and a spot will be solid black. Now, I'm going to let us get a little bit more time with this leopard. Beautiful, beautiful leopard in Shangaan. It's actually known as an Ingwe. Because we've got 2 other vehicles that have come through, and unfortunately there's another few who'd like to see her, but there's a stunning view for everyone. There she stretches, and actually, did you see that lift of the tail?
Yeah.
And there is yellow underneath, so I think it might be a young male, which, for my viewers at home, I don't know if you probably do know a lot more than I do. Juma's got 2 sons. This might be one of her younger sons. But you must tell me, as you're part of this family longer than I've been. Alright, he's going to walk down towards the drainage line. Let me get some last few minutes. Alright, all stations, I'm going to be leaving this Ingwe. Looks like a young Madura Ingwe. I'm leaving two vehicles in this lock. We are by Biffleshoek Dam. I believe on Biffleshoek East, but I will hand it over to someone who knows the Thanks. All right, everyone. In our long-based vehicle, and that right there, everyone at home, I'm just going to let you know that's what we call beginner's luck in the business. Brand new person, brand new property, and we got ourselves a leopard, which is all I wanted today, and it's all I wanted to share with you, so thank you very much. I don't know, maybe we've got a few questions again live at Juma Game Reserve here in the Sabi Sands with Safari TV. I've got Harman on camera, also my wonderful tracker, excuse me. We've got Catherine as director. I've also got Mark listening in, and I'm Noelle, here as a guest presenter for everyone at home. I just got a question from Deborah, and it's actually a fantastic question. Deborah asked, if the elephants had noticed the leopard, would they make the leopard leave? Now, Deborah, I'm going to answer your question in two parts. One is I'm actually going to digress from leopard for a second and go to lion. Elephants do not like lion, and they will chase them away, far, far, far away, so they just go. And they will do it repeatedly. Lions are known to try and eat small elephants. Now, lions, a good-sized female lion will weigh about 180 to 200 kgs. That's pushing it on the big scale. And then you'll get a male, a full-grown male, about 240 to 260. So basically what I'm letting you know is the size is there. Now, opposed to a young male like we just saw now, who's most likely about around 50 kgs, a female leopard will basically be around 45, 50 tops, and then a really big male leopard will be at about 90. Harman, do you want to go here? Okay. Be at about 90. So it's a third to half the size of a lion. Okay. So because leopards are about a third to half the size of a lion, they also occupy a different niche. They tend to stalk, pounce, and then pull prey to a tree or under a bush. They hunt different things. They're not going to hunt a small baby elephant. And I actually think that the elephants know that. This is the second time in my career I've seen a leopard this close to elephants, and elephants has done nothing. I'm pretty sure that those elephants knew she was, or excuse me, him. We did see the yellow under the bun there, so it is a young male. I'm pretty sure that those elephants knew he was there, and they just weren't bothered. It's not, they don't feel that it's a threat. Because remember as well, earlier in the show, we talked about dominance and submissive behavior. That leopard was lying down. It's not going for anything. He was a little bit agitated with the tail up. But all in all, they both carried on with their lives. He went one way and they went the other. I think that on the odd chance, I've never heard of it happening. I don't really think it's a big possibility. If, let's say, a large male leopard did try to attack a baby elephant, I think that the elephants would definitely have something to say. But for now, it's not really seen as a threat. You'll also probably get leopard very close to rhino without the rhino doing much. However, rhino and lion, again, same story. I've watched rhinos run away from the scent of lion, and I've also watched them charge lions and try and push them off and away. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much. I've got a question from Liz. Liz heard me say that I started calling it a female and then said that I would have to check for a yellow patch under the tail. I've never heard that before. Liz, really good question. There's many different ways to try and sex animals. Now, my way of sexing them, when I say yellow under the tail, it's a very polite way of saying that the color skin around the leopard's testicles has a yellowish color. So when that tail goes up, if you see that yellowish color, you're basically seeing, because sometimes it's very quick. Not all of the time are you going to get a very prolonged tail up, and you can definitely see the male bits. And so that yellow color, which I did see, also Harman saw, indicates that it is in fact a male. The absence of that yellow color means an absence of male parts and testes, and therefore it is a female. And especially with a cat that size, that's either going to be a very large female or a small male. It turns out it was a small male. And that's just a trick I've picked up guiding in my career. I hope that answers well enough. Let me know if it didn't, and you can send in another question. I'll address it again. On this right here. Sorry, everyone, I'm so excited about that leopard we saw. Oh, leopards and elephants in one sighting. I think you all have made my day. Alright, now as we're driving through, on our right hand side you can obviously see on our screen, on your screen there at home, it looks a little bit different. It's a little bit blackened. Alright, this is what's called a fire break. It's September now. We're entering into our fire season. Now where I went to university in Montana, we get a wicked fire season there in the summertime. Now for us, this is the time now. And it's one of those things where you don't want a large fire to come through and completely burn this area, because then there will be absolutely nothing to eat. It will be very difficult for the animals. The animals might move off into another part of the park where we won't be able to see them. And so by having a fire break like this, only a small little portion, it encompasses the road. It makes it maybe 80 meters, give or take a few meters, so that if a fire were to come from either side, it actually can't, what's called jump. Can't jump over here. There's actually something in front of us, Harman. I don't know if you saw it better than I did. I would like to go and investigate. It was... Oh, it's a duiker. We were talking about duikers earlier. Running around just up here. Duiker, a favorite food of leopard. The only leopard kill I've ever seen in my career was actually a female killing a duiker. And I have to say, to this day, it still gives me a very, very big thrill. A duiker is a perfect size meal for a leopard. There he goes. Grayish in color. Not too sure how well you saw him. He did run off quite quickly. One way to tell, he's going to be just up here. I'm going to try and stop and see if we can't get a view of him. If you were with us this morning, Jared did show you, but if you weren't with us this morning, I'll show you one now. Just here. And just let me know if you
Right a little bit back.
A little bit back. Let me know. Okay. There he goes there. Black nose. The females have no horns. The males have tiny little horns. And they're the grayish in color, as I said. They're bigger than a steenbok. A steenbok, also the males have little horns. The females have none. And the steenbok are red in color. Duiker eats leaves. The steenbok will eat more grass. We did talk about the duiker being the only antelope that actively eats meat. But what I want to get with the differences there is we also get the duiker, you get the steenbok, you get a dik-dik, which is the smallest of them, and then you get a klipspringer, which is sort of in between a duiker and a steenbok. And all of them, the females are all larger than the males, because the females have to carry the baby. For a duiker and a steenbok and a klipspringer, those babies weigh less than 1 kilogram. It's a very, very tiny one. And that's one of the reasons why the females need to be a little bit bigger. They need a little bit more body weight on them. So if you see a large one like we just saw now, no horns, you definitely know it's a female. I've just heard that many of our viewers at home with us today have decided amongst themselves that the young male leopard we see is a young male leopard by the name of Induna. All of you at home that follow us here, follow our family at Safari TV, are going to know more than I know about that. You're new, you guys have been around, you know a lot more. Now, a young male, I'd be interested to know how old Induna is, maybe for one of our viewers, someone that's been following the timeline a bit. For me, because I didn't see the face, I couldn't give you what's known as a spot ID pattern. What cats will get is just on the side here, they've got a row, and then just above it, they might have 1, 2, or nothing, or 3 or 4, and you take each side, and it's what's known as a spot pattern. You can get a 1, 1, you can get a 0, 0, you can get a 3, 2, you can get a 4, 1. There's also something in the road up there, very cat-like in appearance. Alright, I just got information that Induna is 22 months, and I would agree that that leopard there looks like about a 22-month-old leopard. Thank you to my viewers at home pointing it out. I hope we'll get a lot more chances for you to teach me about our cats here on the property. Now, I did see something cross the road up here. It was walking a bit like a cat. I have to say that if we do see another cat now, hands in the air, I'm going to say this is one of the most beautiful properties I've worked at. But let's go have there. Did you see it up there? Alright, we're going to go have a look and see what it possibly could be. You never know, it could be something else. Sometimes your eye catches, but you can tell from a distance what an animal might be, even if it's brief, by the way that they walk. It's not, again, not always 100%. Sorry, just excuse me as I concentrate while we go down this hill a little bit. It's not always 100%, but again, we're coming through a river line, perfect for cats. We had the male walk tracks that we saw earlier. We know, or I was today, I walked right across here, hey? Can I go straight?
Good.
Alright, so we were talking about the way animals walk. Now, look, for any of my viewers at home, if you have a cat, watch how your cat walks, and then watch how your cats on TV walk. Watch how an impala walks, and sort of compare the difference. Now, what I saw across the road just here, I actually think I might have accidentally just drawn over my tracks, but it went just in here, so I would like everyone maybe just help me out with your 3D TV. It's a lion. What is that? 2 hyenas. It's 2 spotted hyenas. Can I drive across the fire break? I'm going to drive across the fire break. I've got 2 spotted hyenas for you. Now, we had a question this morning asking about the hyena den. Now we can actually talk about whether or not these are male or female. Harmon, what's this road ahead? This one up ahead. All stations, I've got 2 Nisi on Biddleswood Cut Line. Alright, sorry, I'm going to try and get over to those hyenas best I can so that we can get a view. Now, I get a lot of questions, is a hyena a cat or a dog? Well, it's put into the dog family, but it is actually most closely related to mongoose. Okay, now unfortunately we can't go here. What I am going to try and do is position our vehicle as best we can, see if we can't see them. There they are, just here off the side of the road for us. Fantastic! They're doing what? Let's see. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. And off they run, just here. I'm gonna let Harmon pull out a little bit, and then I'm gonna move forward as best I can. Now, spotted hyenas, I know that you asked me earlier, what's your favorite animal? And I said, elephants! And then I said, okay, if I have to pick something else, I'm gonna pick honey badger. And now I'm gonna tell you spotted hyenas are also one of my favorites, because it is. I have to say, they're absolutely fascinating. They thought for a long time that hyenas were hermaphrodites. they are not actually hermaphrodites. What's happened, I don't know, Harmon, if you can get her coming on top of that tournament. I think this is going to be the best visual that I can get for you all today, unfortunately. So sorry. Just missed it. Hyenas aren't actually, in fact, hermaphrodites. What's basically happened is the female genital organ has just sort of elongated itself to simulate a male genital organ. And then basically what we saw the hyena do when it was crouching here, it was doing an anal pasting. Now, hyenas have this sort of, it's an anal gland at the back of the bum, and what they do is they turn it inside out, and they walk over one stalk of grass, and they leave a pasting. Now, a spotted hyena leaves one scent. Spotted hyenas hunt in packs and live in clans. A brown hyena is more of a solitary scavenger. They don't hunt as much, but then a brown hyena will also live in a clan. Sorry, I just caught another view. There's always a possibility there could be more hyenas. And so they turn that anal gland inside out, and they walk over, and they put the scent mark. Now, the spotted hyena, as I said, has one. The brown hyena has two. They took 2 pastings. The one pasting basically says from the spotted hyena, "This is my territory, get out." All right, for any other clans that might be around, get out. Now, that smell can last up to 6 months. It is if it's fresh, like I'm sure this one is, it's really stinky. I'll leave it at that. Now, brown hyena has one that goes dark and one that stays white. One of them says, "This is sort of where I traverse my territory." The other one is basically saying, "I was here 3 weeks ago. If you happen into this area, don't bother scavenging. There's not going to be anything here." All right, my viewers, we're doing not so bad, hey? Not so bad. All right. So big termite mound on that side. Again, we had questions about a den earlier. Unfortunately, couldn't really see if those were male or female. The best way you can really tell male from female is to be very close to the spotted, pushing 70 kilograms. I'm going to say 65, 62 to 65, but a big one pushes a little bit more. 50. Sorry about that. Went through a little bit of a dippy-doo, but we're back. And I have actually lost my train of thought, unfortunately. But we can carry on with the spotted hyena. Spotted hyena actually really interesting. We can tie it back to the very beginning of Drive. We talked about Sangomas, the magic people of South Africa, the witch doctors, if you will. And people here actually believe that hyenas are a very evil, wicked creature, and that witches and Sangomas will ride on the back of hyenas, and they're sort of a magical, quite scary thing. And a lot of that comes down to the way that they laugh. That the spotted hyena has that giggling. I'm sure a lot of our viewers at home have seen Lion King. It sounds very, very similar to that, and it's an eerie sound. They can also make a funny sound that sounds a little bit human, almost baby crying. Again, please don't ask me to impersonate animals. You'll just end up plugging your ears. and it leads to a lot of stories. They also have that funny sloping back, and you actually could see the gait nicely, the way that they walked. Hyenas are built for endurance. They're built very heavy in front, and then that sloping back, and so they can run and run and run. A hyena can't run as fast as a lion. A lion can run at about 80 kilometers an hour for about 100 meters. A leopard can get up to about 90 kilometers an hour. I'm also going to say only for about 100, 200 meters. Basically, that would be a lion's charging speed is about 22.1 meters a second, and a leopard's about 23. But a hyena only reaches about 45 kilometers an hour. But they can run that 45 kilometers an hour for kilometer after kilometer after kilometer after kilometer after kilometer. Now, one of the other reasons why they're built so heavy in front is that hyenas have what's known as a very large sagittal crest. For any of my viewers that have a dog at home, especially if you've got a bigger dog like a Doberman or a Rottweiler, you can feel they've got a ridge on top of their head. That's called a sagittal crest. Now, the hyenas have the largest sagittal crest of any of the mammal family because they've got a lot of tendons and muscles they have to anchor to run that really powerful jaw. The torque in a hyena's jaw is astounding. I actually can't give you any figures on that off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up, but it really is something powerful. Estineo just asked, is there a remarkable difference between a male lion and a female lion's weight? Now, as I said before, a female lion is going to weigh about 160 to about 180. I've actually worked with one or two females that push 200, but that's a big female. That's a very big female. Now, a male lion is going to weigh about 240 to 260. Again, I've worked with a male a bit bigger. In his prime, he weighed about 280, close to 300, but again, that's a huge, huge male lion. So you're looking at about, let's say, 160 for a female, 260 for a male. That's about 100 kilogram difference. So it's definitely remarkable. You also get a lot of sexual dimorphism, as we talked about earlier, the differences between male and female. A male lion's got the mane, as I'm sure we all know, and the female doesn't, although there have been recorded instances of females growing smaller manes with testosterone levels. But then the other part of the sexual dimorphism is actually the size. If you look at humans, for instance, men tend to be a bit bigger and women tend to be a bit smaller. That would be our sexual dimorphism. So yes, definitely, males are a lot bigger than females. Hope that answers your question. Roughly 10 minutes left in our live broadcast with Juno Safari TV. Again, I'm Noelle. I've had him on the air, on camera with me. We've had some great sightings. We've had some nyala, zebra, some impala, and beautiful elephants, and lucky with that leopard. And to top it all off, we've just seen 2 spotted hyenas. So before we sign off, send us an email. Catherine, if you can just send me that email again. I'm sorry, my mind is just drawing a blank. Oh, all right, we got it. It's final control at safari.tv. Please excuse me. And again, I'm the guest presenter for today. This was my interview, so I hope you all have been enjoying, and just let me know in our final few moments. Maybe we'll bump something, who knows, if you've got any questions. We got a question from Deb. She asks, who would win in a competition of endurance, hyenas or wild dogs? And Deb, that's a really fantastic question. Thanks for answering that. Now, as I said before, hyenas are made for endurance. They run and run and run, kilometer after kilometer after kilometer. Wild dogs, however, the way that they run is very quickly, and they cover distances like this. But a wild dog needs to rest up a little bit more from hyenas. Now, I say that, Deb, from my own personal experience. And my personal experience with wild dogs comes from reintroduced wild dogs. And some of those reintroduced wild dogs were hand-raised. Now, I would be actually interested myself to know, in a wild population that's been untouched, not raised, not helped out by man at any time, will that actually affect the way that they hunt? My theory on that, off the top of my head, I'm going to say no. An animal's instinct is pretty good. But for me, a spotted hyena is going to win out in that endurance. A wild dog is going to cover a larger distance in a shorter amount of time, but a spotted hyena is going to get there. Now, a brown hyena, walking and running, can outdo both of them. A brown hyena, I once worked with a brown hyena who was caught in a snare. He was relocated. He was only kept in the boma for a couple of days. They've got very strong homing beaked hyenas, and he walked. Next day, he broke out and walked/ran 300 kilometers back home. So, hope that answers your question. Everyone, we're losing a little bit of light. Unfortunately for us, our light is depleting quicker because of the cloud cover. It makes everything go quite dull and gray. But because of this cloud cover and a little bit of wind, the predators are out in abundance. It would be nice maybe if we can find some lions. Quickly on our way home, we actually only have about 7-8 minutes left with all of you here on our 3D live broadcast from Juma with Safari TV. Again, I'm guest presenter Noelle, Harman on camera, but he's also been my tracker for the day and spotter of the hyenas. Thank you, Armin. And we've got some time for some more questions while I'm bumbling a bit to see if we can't find you one last tidbit to tide you over until tomorrow morning, where Jared will be doing a drive as far as I know. Right, Leslie in Texas has just asked, or she's pointed out and then asked, that a hyena's sloping back is similar to that of a German Shepherd. Are they related? Excellent question, Leslie. Now, a German Shepherd will be in the canine family, all right, Canidae, and the hyenas for a long time were actually put into the cat family, Feliformis, or Feliformidae, excuse me, my Latin endings in my taxonomy is a little bit off, but hyenas are actually most closely related to a mongoose. Not a dog, not really a cat, they're more related to the mongoose side. And unfortunately, off the top of my head right now, I have just pulled a Noelle moment and drawn a blank about what family that would be, but I'm sure we've got some viewers at home who would quickly look up what family the mongoose are in. I think that the reason why you might see that a German Shepherd has a sloping back similar to that of a hyena would be that remember, German Shepherd is sort of not really a hunting dog, but it's a big dog, an attack dog. They also need endurance. They also have a lot of muscles in their jaw, a lot of torque, very similar to a hyena. So they're also going to have a bit of a large sagittal crest, and also thicker muscles thicker shoulders, excuse me, where a lot of the muscles have to attach themselves. And I hope that that answers your question. Alright, we've turned the front lights on and the spotlight a bit, help with our camera, a little bit. It's actually darker on screen than it is right now for us. The whole point of us being here is so that you all can enjoy safari from the comfort of home. So we are trying to make that a little bit easier, but it's also a good time, because with this cloud cover, it's a good time of night to put the spotlight on, because what we're going to start looking for is not necessarily the whole animal, but the reflection of the eyes off the animal. Now, as a rule of thumb, it's not 100%, but as a rule of thumb, a nocturnal, an animal that moves at night, their eyes will shine red. Unless it's a lion or a leopard, then they tend to have more of a golden tinge. And then a diurnal being a daytime moving animal, their eyes will shine green in the spotlight. Now, it's not always 100%. A lot of the times, if I've, again, back to the hyenas, if I've had hyenas, but they're farther up the road, say 100 meters, or no, maybe not 100 meters, so about 80 meters, their eyes will shine green. And then that's when you start looking, how does the animal react to your spotlight? Is it staring straight ahead, or is it carrying on with the usual movement? For those of you at home, if you've ever heard the phrase, deer in headlights look, a deer is a daylight animal, very similar to our antelopes. The headlights make them freeze, whereas a nocturnal animal, like an owl, or our lions and leopards here, they'll look into the light, away from the light, through the light. The light doesn't really bother them as much as it will for a daytime animal. Alright, well, we're getting back into a little bit more quiet area of the bush. Again, just to recap, maybe you've just joined us, you've been with us the whole show, we've seen beautiful zebra, impala, male nyala, nice breeding herd of elephants, our lucky leopard, and our 2 spotted hyenas. And we've done a little bit of trees, some birds. We've had a pretty all-around game drive. Again, my name's Noelle. We're live in 3D from Juma. I've got Harmon with me on camera, also my trucker, as I've said before. And we're busy trying to see if there's 1 or 2 last things we can find for you before, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave you for the evening. It's daytime in some places, it's about an hour behind us in some others, and then for us here, it's coming on to nighttime and the end of our show. Alright, I'm just gonna get through this dip a little bit. We'll see what's on the other side. Maybe squeeze in 1 or 2 more questions if there's anyone. Final control at safari.tv. Well, everyone, I'm going to just get around this corner here. And then, unfortunately, folks at home, I'm going to have to say goodnight. So to everyone at home,
There's a little bit of light in your face, right?
So to everyone at home, thank you very much for joining us for 3 hours of live 3D TV with Safari TV at Juma Game Reserve here in Sabi Sands in South Africa. Again, my name is Noelle. We've had Armin on camera, and we've had Catherine in as director today in Final Control. I've been a guest presenter on my interview, and I've had a blast. It's been an experience of a lifetime. I really hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope that you'll come and join us again in the morning and for many, many more safaris here with Safari TV. Thank you, and I hope you all have an excellent evening.